Hey everybody, today we're going to be doing what if Shinji was in the Naruto universe. This is going to be part 1. Let me know how you like this type of idea. I don't really like doing reincarnations as much because I just like having this hard to maneuver what happens to the Nine Tails, and I feel like it sort of just becomes just Naruto with that power, and I kind of want to introduce some depth to my story. So yeah, Shinji's gonna be born in the world of Naruto, and we're gonna see how the world changes from here. One thing I'm going to be doing is the same with Gojo and Aizen. Let me know how you think about that, which one you want me to do first. I'm leaning towards Gojo, so I can spend more time going over how I'm gonna do the Aizen one. And let me know if you guys want that to be a movie or you just guys want me to do it in parts and then just like release it as a movie. Well, another thing I'm interested in doing is if you want me to create a separate channel, I'm actually interested in doing like a channel based on like doing gaming playthroughs, which I think is possible. I mean, all I have to do is just record my gameplay and like just record my audio for the commentary, so and just have that coincide, like happen at the same time. So it would be pretty easy to actually do that. But yeah, without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So we begin this story with Shinji being born into the world of Naruto. Now I'm just gonna have his parents, give birth to him. I think his parents will not really have much of an important role in his life. He's just gonna be an orphan, and that's pretty much what's gonna happen. And the time period I'm going to have him be born is around, I'd say actually about maybe 10 years before the Nine Tails attack. That's what I'm gonna do. So it'll be about maybe like a year older or 2 years older than Shisui, if I'm even calculating that right. No, maybe more like 3 or something, maybe 2, because I know Itachi was like 4. Shisui's older than him by 3 years, so it's more like 2 or 3. So yeah, pretty much he's born on the he's not born on the Nine Tails attack. I don't know what I'm saying. He's born 10 years before the Nine Tails attack, and he's raised in the generation of Shisui and Itachi. Pretty much he's raised on his own. The lore behind his parents dying, I guess, is that they died during the Third Great Ninja War, released towards the tail end of the Third Great Ninja War, and there was sort of a not really a decree, but a law that like children whose parents were martyred or at least killed during war were gonna be like taken care of. So Shinji would be given his own place, and it's pretty much what would happen. So from here, what I'm gonna have Shinji do, to say the least, is how he's gonna get his Zanpakuto is he's going to get buy a katana, which he's just he just seems interested in getting one, but it's sort of gonna act like an Atsuchi in a sense that as he spends more time with it, he's going to implant his soul into it, the sensor soul energy, and that will form into his Zanpakuto. So yeah, I'll go over like the first few years. I think like the first like 5 or 6 years are pretty uninteresting, but I'm gonna go over their academy years, and this is gonna mainly be with Naruto, Sasuke, I'm tripping, Naruto, Shisui, and Itachi. So pretty much they're going through the academy. Naruto being like going in first at around the age of 7 or 8, and then Shisui to be about like 2 years later. So he would just be studying, and he sort of is a natural, like whenever he reads topics, he sort of gets it and he enhances upon it. And one thing, is like he's like very bright, and yeah, this will lead to the three sort of meeting and becoming more friends, in the sense that Sasuke and that Shisui and Itachi are just friends because they're Chios, and that's how they meet. But Naruto, or in this case Shinji, I'm too used to talking about Naruto. So if you ever notice me saying Naruto, that means Shinji. Okay. So Shinji in this case will meet them mainly because they go to the same school. I mean, yeah. And they would start to train together and build, friendship. And as this is going on, Shinji would be having like dreams at night, and this would mainly be him like having conversations with his Zanpakuto, but he doesn't necessarily know that. But as he gets older, his Zanpakuto would, let him access more power. But in this case, he's not going to get Shikai for a bit. So I'm going to go all the way to the time when they're going to graduate. In this case, Shinji's going to graduate at about like 10 or 11 years old. And right around the time Itachi graduates, which will be about like 6. Yeah, I believe that makes sense because there's a 5-year difference. And Shisui would graduate right around the same time as well. So they sort of all graduated because they're like geniuses, and they're ready. And the third Great Ninja War still some like barely remnant, so they still need like younger shinobis, and they're quite bright. So from here, the three would be placed in their own separate teams, and this is what I'm going to go over: the day in which the masked man, or Madara Uchiha, would try to kill the Fire Lord Daimyo. So Itachi's team would actually be sent on a mission to protect the Fire Lord Daimyo, and everyone thought this was just going to be a normal mission, but apparently it was not. So Shinji's team would also be sent on this, and what happened is the masked man would appear and would kill Itachi's teammate, also all of Shinji's team, leaving him just by himself. So he and Itachi are by themselves against this masked man, and they're just shocked because he just killed Itachi's teammate. Now Shinji is, just instinctively, with his Zanpakuto, would see his Zanpakuto materialize in front of him, and would, his Zanpakuto would give him her name, or I don't even know who Sakanade is, but his Zanpakuto Sakanade would allow him to use this Shikai like this once, and he would be able to use it. And in this case, he would use its scent, sort of like a scent which creates an optical illusion for his opponent, where he enters the inverted world. And from here, Obito would be confused, and Itachi would notice this, and the two would try to like do something like land an attack. But they would like pretty much Obito, like for example, if they're gonna like try to kick at his chest, his front chest, he's gonna like try to like pass through it, and then he'll just like pretty much the kick will like pass through. I mean, I was trying to think of a way, like maybe because of the direction, like if he only faced like just the front of his chest, and I was thinking about that, and it didn't really make sense. So literally, the illusion doesn't really do much if you actually think about it, because I mean, if Obito just uses Kamui in all of his body, of course it's not gonna work. But at some points, he just Kamui's like an arm, or like on some portion of it, and using the optical illusion, they landed some lucky hit. They're like so young, I don't think they have any chance to even start with. So Obito would, realize like the illusion, the being an optical illusion which distorts the direction, sort of inverting it, and he would be impressed at this, sort of, and kind of pities him because he kind of wants, he sees his potential, and it'd be, he wants to fight him later, in a sense that like he wants to see how his potential fruitions. And of course, he just doesn't see him as a threat at this point. It would be too easy to just like kill them. So from here, he spares the two, and both would be sort of scarred by this day, with Itachi getting the Sharingan, and Naruto getting his Shikai. So from here, the two would train with Shisui, and they would rise through the ranks as they would train more, with Shinji learning Kido and getting a handle on his Shikai and being able to use it. Now, Shinji's ability is more useful for assassination missions because he can just sneak on his opponents, just cut their throat or something. Just gain this element of surprise by using his illusion. So whenever someone sees him in front of him, someone sees Shinji in front of them, he would actually be behind them. So it's actually a pretty interesting ability, and it can be useful. Now from here, I'm gonna introduce how Shinji actually gets his mask, and I'm gonna actually have this happen via Orochimaru. So what's gonna happen is one day, Orochimaru would target Shinji, and would buy him with a curse mark. So Orochimaru, having heard of the story about how Shinji managed to hold off the supposed Madara Uchiha, or at least the masked man. I'm actually wondering if anyone even knew he was Madara Uchiha technically. So I'll just stay with the masked man, just not to create any contradictions with the story. So Orochimaru would attack Shinji and experiment on him via the curse mark. He already experimented on Anko, and he wanted to find someone who could be his next target, and really this was the good opportunity. So now Shinji would be coming back from his mission, and I believe from here he would, not I believe, but he would buy him and give him the curse mark, and from here this would actually lead to Orochimaru being confronted by Hiruzen, in the sense that due to Shinji going to the Hokage, or at least being having this, he was given the curse mark, and what would happen is he would start holofying, just on his mask, it would form like a mask, and they would Hiruzen would use a sealing jutsu on it, so it sort of becomes it's sort of like how Urara used the Hogyokyu to stabilize the visor, but in this case it's Hiruzen using sealing jutsu to seal it, and this would actually help Shinji be able to access its power without feeling the effects of Orochimaru in its seal. And it's a pretty complex seal, so this probably might require Jiraiya, and yeah, I don't know that. I thought I should mention that I'm low-key cooked my narration. I'm low-key rusty, but just bear with me. So from here, Hiruzen realized Orochimaru was experimenting on people, and he would confront him, but this is where he would show some hesitancy and not be able to kill Orochimaru when he could have. And this is when Orochimaru would escape the village. Now from here, Shinji would be trained by a certain Jonin to train, or more train, isn't train, oh my god, what I'm saying, to train his newfound abilities. This would be none other than Kakashi Hatake, as they theorized that they needed an Uchiha they could trust, who could use Genjutsu, because at this point the trust for the Uchiha is deteriorated, and giving access to just Shinji is doesn't really make sense. Also, this is just a good way to introduce the two for when Shinji rises the ranks further and becomes a Jonin or an Anpu. So from here, Kakashi and Shinji would be training, and he would actually have to go through the same training that Ichigo did, to learn how to hold his mask on longer, and learn to tap into his instincts, not think about holding the mask for longer, but rather actually just not thinking about it, sort of just thinking about the fight in hand. And this would lead him to be able to put on the mask for minutes, if not for about for a long time. But that's sort of towards the long term. So from here, Naruto's about Shinji's about 14, and yeah, so Shinji's about 14, Shisui's about 12, then Itachi's about 9. Sort of works. So we'll just mainly go over Shinji becoming a Jonin, obviously he went through the Chunin exams and he would pass. From here he would actually become an Anbu, and this is where he'll work with Danzo. And Danzo, would have many ninjas, and this would include Shinji, Yamato, Kakashi, Shisui at some point in the future, and of course Itachi at some point. And this is where he'll start, seeing his abilities and actually see him as a possible threat to him. But at this point, he's going to use it to his advantage. So from here, Shinji begins doing missions for Danzo, and also just serving the village from the shadows, sort of as an Anbu, not sort of, but is an Anbu. And he's about 15 when this happens. So from here, over the next just 4 years, the Uchiha situation would deteriorate, and pretty much what would happen is Danzo would start his plans. What he would do is he would have, try to manipulate the village against the Uchiha so they can kill them all off, and he can get the Uchiha eyeballs. So yeah, that's pretty much what would happen. And he would go about this in mainly 3 steps. He would try to have Itachi become a double agent, so then at some point he would be forced to kill the Uchiha clan. He would make sure that Shisui's plan of using Kodomatsu Kamyu would not work, and he would also make sure that Shinji's illusion or Zanpakuto, or his Zanpakuto will not threaten him, because he notices its potential and he thinks it has a further, more complex power than just being able to invert the person's senses. He thinks there's a ulterior ability which Shinji is hiding, which technically is, his Zanpakuto is. But from here, Danzo would actually go ahead and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, in the sense that he'll have his assassination attempt, or not assassination attempt, but attempt to steal Shisui's eyes. And what he would do is he would frame Naruto for doing so. Frame Naruto in the sense that he technically, quote unquote, used his Zanpakuto ability. Shisui was off guard, and Shisui would sort of inhale the scent and would be sent in the inverted world. So when Danzo, in this case, the story is how he's framed is that Shinji took Shisui's Sharingan, and for his own purpose, which is unknown, and then killed Shisui. At least that's what people say, and made it look like a suicide. And from here, pretty much, that's how Danzo would frame Shinji. So he would plant this supposed suicide note, and say that Shinji attacked him, used his Zanpakuto, and pretty much that's how it would work. And the village would sort of turn on him, and Itachi would be forced to kill his clan. So I'm going to fast forward to after Itachi kills his clan, and he actually meets up with Shinji afterwards. And Shinji would, of course, would tell Itachi how he's framed him. Shisui would have that last moment where he would say his last words, and Shinji would tell him that he thinks he's being framed by Danzo. So he's kind of cooked. But Shisui would then die, and giving his Sharingan to use it to either for a good cause for the next generation. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. But Itachi and Shinji would meet up, and Itachi would tell him what happened, and how Danzo told him to take out the Uchiha clan so he can protect his brother, and he's blackmailed Danzo so he won't hurt Sasuke or go after him. Shinji would then tell Itachi that he has been framed by Danzo, of course, and he has to leave the village before he's captured and possibly executed. So the two reports are Hiruzen, where Itachi would debrief him on the massacre, and Shinji would tell Hiruzen that he's been framed by Danzo and he has to leave the village and go rogue. Now from here, Hiruzen would be shocked, sort of, because he's sort of powerless, because if he tries to punish Danzo for his crimes, this would make the Leaf look weak and then cause another world war or another ninja war, great ninja war, and he doesn't want that. Nobody wants that, so he just does what he does in canon, in the sense that he places him on house arrest and removes all his power. Now from here, Itachi would leave, but Shinji would mainly be targeted by Danzo, obviously, with dozens of Anbu. So from here, Shinji would be packing his stuff when he's suddenly his home is surrounded by dozens of root shinobi, and they would all use fire style jutsu and bomb tags, and the house would supposedly just blow up and go to flames. From here, a piece of clothing with Shinji's blood is found, and they think he's dead. Pretty much they find a clone of him, or supposedly a clone of him. It's just sort of charred, and it makes it look like Shinji was killed. But basically, what would happen is Shinji would go through an underground tunnel he has under his house, and would be able to escape the village. And he would make he would have this sort of fake body of his in the case, that would look like him and be identified as him. In a sense, it's sort of a clone, but never really dispels. So from here, Shinji has to leave the village, and he does so. But he is entrusted by Itachi to actually take his brother Sasuke. And he sort of did this before he left the village. And what he would do is Shinji, before leaving the village, would actually bring Sasuke with him. Now, the reason Itachi did this is he feels that Sasuke would grow, well, being raised out the village, and he believes that Danzo might still threaten Sasuke or blackmail Itachi by threatening Sasuke, and he doesn't want to risk that. Let's just say that in his timeline, he thinks about that kind of stuff. Instead of just leaving him there, he entrusts Sasuke with Shinji. So from here, the two would make it to a remote underground cave outside the Land of Fire, sort of close to the Land of Waves. And it's sort of like how the Vizards had an underground base or a cave, or how Kisuke had a underground training cave or camp or something like that. Pretty much they'd be living here. So from here, the two would begin their journey, and it would be an interesting dynamic in the sense that Sasuke is 8 years old, and Shinji in this case is 18 or 19, and this is when Shinji would, pretty much arrive with him there, and Sasuke would wake up, and he's cooked. When I say Sasuke is broken, because as you know, Itachi used his Tsukiyomi on him, and he would swear that he wants revenge on Itachi. He's gonna kill Itachi. From here, Shinji would smile and say that he's going to train Sasuke to do just that. Pretty much, Sasuke, in this case, does not know that Shinji knows the truth. So, and that's gonna stay like that for a while. So Itachi wants Shinji to train Sasuke up so he can get strong enough to kill Itachi, and Sasuke would be able to grow. And that's sort of an unfortunate plan, which Shinji, in his heart, kind of feels bad for, because he has to sort of take place in it and sort of facilitate. And this will sort of begin the time skip. And in this time, Naruto would gather three other members to his group, which I'm going to reveal in the second part, because it's going to be the end of the first part. I'm low-key kind of rusty. I'm still kind of rusty at what ifs. It's mainly the execution. Like, when I make a video, like, I have good ideas, but I just have to find a good way to execute them. So yeah, you'll see who the three new members are in the next part. But yeah, and also we're gonna be having sort of interesting arc that's not really in canon, and it's gonna have to do with the Sand Village and the Chunin exams. So yeah, you'll see that in the next video. Without further ado, guys, I'll see you